everyone. My name is Andrew Weinman, and this is Redworld. Redworld, sorry. This project is the culmination of my master's thesis at Concordia Online University. I'm presenting this walkthrough as part of my master's thesis presentation, and in the hopes that anyone who plays my game and may get stuck will find a handy way of going through and figuring out what they need to do. I'm not sure how long this video is going to be. I'm going to try to give you my reflections in it as we go along. I'll try to keep it underneath 2 hours, but hopefully it won't even take that long. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. This is Redworld, an adventure game done using an approximation of the Scum engine, thanks to adventuregamestudios.co.uk, in the classic 80s retro style. All of the art is done by me. The music was done by my friend Aaron Tabor, and it is designed to emulate the kinds of games that you would play in the 80s. So, let's go ahead and get started. First thing we're going to do is we're going to talk to these skeletons. Now, I'm not going to go through every single dialogue option in the interest of time, but we will hit the high notes to explain the story. Essentially, you are the Nameless Wanderer, otherwise known as the Pilgrim, otherwise known as the Robed One, and so on and so forth. You've woken up in a strange land, and have no idea how you got there. All that you know after talking to these skeletons is that a creature known as the Sorcerer has stolen the moon from the sky and is using the moon to steal the souls of the dead so he can power his strange and bizarre city. Your goal is to take the Iron Wand, which will be explained later, and then go to the Sorcerer Citadel and stop the Sorcerer. It's a bit simplistic, but it works. Most of the story was written off the cuff as I built the game. I had a loose idea as I went along, but I wanted to give it a dreamlike, unusual quality. Something non-standard. So we will see how that works. Let me just adjust my microphone so it's a little bit closer to me. Turn up the volume a little bit. Hopefully you'll be able to hear me a little bit better. So, there's a whole bunch of other dialogue options here, but we're going to skip those in the interest of time and simply go ahead and start the game. My advice is that if you want to read my writing, which I really hope you do, that you download Redworld, either from this handy-dandy link that has been provided to you, or that you get it from my professors and distribute it. The game is free, and you guys can play it as you wish. First thing we're going to do is pick up a clay jug. As you can see, most of this game revolves around the 9-verb system that the Scum system is famous for. You have give, open, close, pick up, look at, talk to, use, push, pull. You also have an inventory system over here on the right. And in fact, this is how the entire game is played. For example, I can look at the fire, and you get a response. You can even try to pick up the fire, but depending on what you do, your options may change. So I'm going to go ahead and move to the next room, or board. Now, if we had talked to the skeletons, we would have known that there is a strange ritual we have to conduct in order to free the Iron Wand somewhere from around here. So we're going to quickly look at that. going to do is we're going to pick up the sickle. We're going to use that sickle first on the purple grass. This is basically the first puzzle. Alright, and it's an optional puzzle. You can actually get to the end of the game without doing this puzzle. You can't complete the game without doing the puzzle, but that was by design. So, let me show you. For example, if I need to pick up the grass and I do it by myself, that's a clue. So I'm going to use the sickle, the purple grass. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up the stone incense bowl and pick up the candle. I'm going to use the purple grass with the stone bowl, and then use the candle, the incense bowl, to create the burning incense bowl. And I will use that with the weathered stone idol. So now I'll just go ahead and pick up the iron wand. And now we have the iron wand. And we can be on our way. Now there's of course a lot more to this game than this. Stuff that you can look at in the background. For example, such as those. The distant lights. Almost everything is clickable. Almost everything is examinable. It's just a matter of, well, trying to fit things underneath the time scheme. So I'm going to take a look at this. And then look at the frayed rope. If I attempt to pick up the rope, it won't work, so I have to use the sickle. And there we finally have the frayed rope. Now this, the crystal pillar, and this, the stone sign, are important to the game. So if I look at the stone sign, Valley of Trials ahead. If I look at the crystal pillar. So, there's a lot of stuff in this game. This is the first main obstacle. We have to somehow get past this large stone wall in order to enter the Valley of Trials. Stone wall, maybe a gate? Whatever it is, it's blocking my way. Typical. In the previous screen you saw there was a door, but we couldn't open it without a key. So what we need to do is we need to look at our environment. As you can see, there is a satchel up here. If we try to reach it, it's not going to work. So let's try our wooden staff. It seems long enough. Nope, you need something to cut that strap. So what we're going to do is we're going to start using our inventory items to create a new item. So I'm going to combine the sickle with the rope. I've got a scythe attached to the rope. I'm not sure what this is going to do. And I'm going to attach the sickle rope with a wooden staff. Hooked staff thing. Now, as you can see, I've actually managed to program it so that changes the avatar. So as long as we have this item in our inventory, our icon looks a little bit different. However, we need this item to change and get to the next part of the game. So we're just going to use it right now. Use crude hooked tool with worn satchel. And now we have our sickle and wooden staff back, plus the satchel, but the rope is gone. So I'm going to open the satchel. And now we have a key and a piece of parchment. So let's go see what we can do with that key. Now, as you can see, here's that door I was mentioning earlier. If I try to open it by itself, turn that music up a little bit. It's locked by some mechanism. So we'll use the key with the door, and now we'll open it. Now, this is the first part of the ancient petroglyphs. If I take a look at that, looks like that giant face on the wall below. So, I also have this row of symbols, each covered in a different glyph. If you pay attention, these glyphs match the glyphs on the faded note. So all I have to do is match these with these. Now, as you can see, we have a W, sort of an IZ, and what looks like a wireless router symbol. So we're just going to push those in order. Push the next one in the sequence. Finally, the last one. And now we can leave. Also, I'd like it to note that if you get this wrong, you can always reset the puzzle by hitting this stone button, which actually says reset. So let's go ahead and go downstairs and see what's happened. Oh, keep going. And as you can see, the door miraculously disappears, and we can move on with our journey into the Valley of Trials. Now, this was originally going to be a puzzle in and of itself, but I had to remove it because of time. But because I love the imagery so much, I decided to keep it in. So this is moving a bit slow, so I think I'm going to increase the game speed just a bit. And I can do that by accessing the menu, which I do by pressing F5. So now I can just increase the game speed a little bit. Oh, I can also save my game. Let's go ahead and click here. I'm going to call this Redworld. Oh. Save 1. So there we go. Now things are moving a little bit faster. Now, this puzzle is the first and also the only part of the Valley of Trials, aside from the first door. We have here a whole bunch of purple grass. We have here a stone drum. In fact, if I use the stone drum, come on. Nice sound. And we have this figure here guarding the gate. The Iron Maiden. I'm a bit of a heavy metal fan. So let's talk to her real quick. Find out what's going on. Now again, there's a lot of dialogue options here, so let's just go right to what I need to do. So I need to go talk to this face before I can move on, so I guess I better go. So basically, I need to go and talk to him in order to get the items to solve the next puzzle. Now, as you can see, this giant face loosely resembles the faces that we've seen on the stone door and on the petroglyphs, so this is very important. So we'll talk to the Guardian. Making that mouth animation was probably one of the highlights of my pixel animation career. I'm very proud of that. I would say that I wish I had made some voice acting for this, but I simply didn't have the time or the resources to do so. If I ever re-release this game, I'll add voice acting. Alright, let's go into the icon room. And here we have our first music shift. So what I need to do is I need to choose an icon to answer the riddle. Now, basically, the riddle is what has nails but needs no hammer? What can you hold but cannot put down? And so on and so forth. The answer is the hand. So we're going to pick up the hand icon. Now, I could have chosen these. That would have made me given me a wrong answer, but I could have still played the game if I had done that. So now I will simply return here. And I will use the hand icon on the stone drum. I just want to say that because her animation, walking animation, only appears in one instance for like barely a second, making the walking animation seems like a gigantic waste of time, but it was necessary. Oh, I need to fix that. So, into the cave. So, we'll just go ahead and move on. As you can see, this is one of the first areas in this area that we cannot yet access. There's a lock on the door. Now, granted, we could use the key. See if that worked. That won't do any good. So we have to find something else. One of the things about these games is that the puzzles are often context sensitive. You have to look at and examine the puzzle to know what you need to do. So if I look at the door, flimsy wooden door made of purple wood. It's closed by a sturdy iron chain. I might be able to open the lock or bash it in. So maybe I can use something in my inventory to bash it open. Let's try the wooden staff. My staff has no chance against that lock. Need something sturdier. Let's try the sickle. That won't do any good. We do not have the item in our inventory right now to open this door, so we will have to come back to that. There is some backtracking in this game, but hopefully it's not too much. Here we see a horrible looking deity figure. It's an important clue for later. We also see that we have the head of a miner's pick. And we'll go ahead and pick that up. In these games, it's important to pick up everything you can. You never know what's going to happen. And we can look at the scrolled writing. Something bad happened here. But we can't do anything about it, so we're just going to leave for right now. Now, originally there was going to be a labyrinth in this part of the game, but I cut it for time, so I never went back and changed that dialogue, and I probably should. Because you are not lost in the guts for any length of time. Now, this is where the game can branch off into two ways. Both of them are necessary to complete the game, and you have to do both in order to complete the game, but you can choose which way you go first. As we see, we have a signpost. Top sign says watering hole due north. The bottom one says Citadel due east. The Citadel is where the sorcerer is. We're not going to go there just yet because I want to save on time. So instead we're going to go to the north, to the watering hole. And here we see one of our first and one of my favorite characters, the merchant. And if we talk to him, he's a motor mouth. What are you doing here? Looking for things to sell. So he's here to find old relics to sell at the Citadel. Now, in order to shut down time, basically this man sent in a bodyguard into this tomb up north to retrieve an item for him. The bodyguard has not returned, so we have to find some way of getting in there and getting the bodyguard out, and maybe finding an item to give to the merchant. You'll also notice that we have this watering hole here. I'm going to go ahead and use the earthenware jug with the watering hole. As you can see, that fills it up with water. And we will go north. There's all... oops, ancient ruins, must be careful. There's a lot more going on in this game, and I highly suggest that you guys download it and explore it at your leisure. Another change in music, and a dead serpent. So let's take a look at that. That's to imply that the bodyguard is still alive and is doing amazing things. There's also this shelf with glass lenses. And one shelf down here. Massive glass lens. Only one that's not broken. As I said, pick up everything in adventure games. So we're going to go into this part of the cave. Oh, a little fiddly. There we go. Now, this is one puzzle I wish I could go back and redo, partially because you could solve that part of the puzzle without ever seeing this part. The idea here is that I have to get past this door, so I need to open the door. And I can look at this stone statue. Scorching inside, looks like it was scorched by something. And there are dead insects and so on, and a giant mural. But we're going to skip that in the interest of time. Instead, over here, we see we have a lamp and some sort of device. Looks like an arm to hold something, along with a puddle of melted glass. So what we're going to do is we are going to first use the candle on the lamp. And then we're going to use the lens with the ancient device. Now, basically the idea is that from the contextual clues in this puzzle, you should be able to figure out that you need to put the lens in the armature and light the lamp in order to create a laser or a flame that burns here and opens the door. So we will move on. But alas! Door closes. Now here we meet Mylena, one of my other favorite characters. So let's quickly talk to her. I think I made her sprite a little bit short, but that's okay. Anyway, basically she's been trapped in here because of this door, and she cannot figure her way out, so it is up to us to get ourselves out. So, for example, why didn't you try to get out? I did. I spent hours hammering at the doors or looking for an exit. No luck finding an exit. Would I be here if I did? Point. So, we have to find a way out. Now, this is actually a two-part puzzle. not only do you have to open this door in order to escape, you have to open this door in order to get what you originally came here for. But you cannot open this door until you've opened this door and left to get the items you need. So first what we're going to do is we're going to look around our environment. Strange panel, see between it and the door. I'm going to use the scythe or sickle to pry off the panel. Panel's off. If I look inside of the panel, access panel was hiding a little chamber. Lots of fine pink dust in it. I'm also going to pick up this rusted metal spear and pick up these tattered rags. As you can see, I am trying to burn through this as fast as possible to meet the time requirements, but I do advise you guys to all go back and take a look at all the things I've put in. We're also going to pick up these crystal shards. The idea here being that these pink crystal shards are what you need to open that door. So we'll just use our crystal shards with the hole in the wall. Huzzah! Broken shard bar, that's very important. So let's go ahead and leave. Well, actually there is one more thing we can do here. As you can see here, if we see this part of the puzzle, it says a blue jewel, or it has a blue jewel, and it says, I think you can read this one. Prepare an offer of water for the goddess. So we will simply use the jug of water on the giant gold basin. There. Now there's still two other things you need to do for this. You need to make an offering of fire, and you need a much larger crystal here in order to get that to work. So we need to do a little bit of backtracking. And at this point, to speed things along, I will increase this game speed even more. Although it's not very fast, unfortunately. Keep going. You'll go ahead and leave the tomb and go back to see what we've missed. Now, I will say this amount of backtracking in this game was, on reflection, not the best idea. And if I had a chance to do this game again, I probably wouldn't do it this way. But at the time, it was my intention to artificially lengthen the length of the game, which was a mistake on my part. But considering this is the first game I've ever designed, I'm willing to give myself the benefit of the doubt. I've learned from this. And if I ever make another game, I will not do anything like this. So first things first, we're going to use the iron bar with the purple wooden door. So now we throw away the bar and we go inside. Get in there. Get in there. Fiddly. Now, as you can see, this is not the best bit of art here, but I'll go with it. So I'm going to go ahead and take a look around. There is a bottle of yellow liquid. Reeks of alcohol, so we'll pick that up. You can look at the power crystal, but it's faded and dying. It's probably about to die. If I try to pick it up, doesn't look like it has much power left. There is a pick handle, so we'll pick that up. And finally, there is a journal. So if I pick that up, and I look at it, I get a little bit of backstory from day 1 to day 14. including this last bit. Have to kill it, strike the statue, have to shut her up, still hear her laughing, taunting me. She did this to the sorcerer, she wants to do it to me. Going to break the statue, strike the statue, mine the crystal, take it for my own. There's a lot more to that, but basically the idea here is that there's more to that statue than meets the eye. So we need to leave, and I can actually use the miner's pick with the pick handle, and now I have a totally functional miner's pick, which is going to be useful if I need to go mining. Now again, here's more backtracking that I put in there, and if I had my druthers, I would not go back and do this. I would line this area with crystal, but in the interests of time, to finish the master's degree, I did not. Instead, what we are going to do is we are going to go back to that crystal pillar we saw at the very beginning of the game and mine that. Now this may not take a lot of time here on fast speed, but at the regular speed this takes a while. So we'll move up. We will use the miner's pick with the crystal pillar. And now we have a chunk of crystal. Feels like it has an electric charge somehow. So we'll now leave and return into the distance. As you can see, this backtracking is a bit onerous and a pain in the butt, but that's okay. Like I said, I've learned from my mistakes. If I had my druthers, I would go back and just put crystal up here. Make it easier for everybody involved. Let's keep going. I'm going to go back inside of here. And we'll get what we came here for to begin with. An item to give to the merchant. Because there is treasure in these ruins, and he is hungry for it. Keep going. Now at this point we have... Oh, must have double clicked. At this point we have everything we need in order to finish this puzzle. We've already put the water in the water basin, now we must put the fire in the fire basin. So to do that, I'm going to use alcohol with these torn rags. Now I have an old rag soaked with questionable high-proof liquor. High point of my adventure. I'm going to use that there. And now, for the piece de resistance, we must light it. And then finally, we still need something to power the door. So we will use our chunk of crystal on the door. And here we have the gigantic tomb. There's a lot in here that you can look at, such as a picture of Redworld and these strange writings on the wall. But we're just going to pick up the gem and go. I will say this is probably one of the best rooms I've drawn. I love the color scheme. It's my favorite one so far. Pixel art has always been a very big passion of mine. And while I haven't done it since I've built this game to give myself a rest, I plan on getting back into it as soon as possible. So we will leave. we will give this gem to the merchant who wanted it to begin with. $100 ruby coins. And you have been rooked. 100 ruby coins, all mined from rubies. Crystals must be extremely common around here. Wait a minute. So, that implies that the economy is entirely crystal-based, and that you may have just gotten 100 pennies. And here we have the Citadel. Now, this is probably my favorite part of the game in terms of just design. And I actually plan on using this for a similar aesthetic in a future game of my design called Brain Case. Now, as you can see, it's a very sort of cyberpunk, ruined world. Lots of strange things in here, such as the bordello and the secret police, who you can talk to if I go in here and I try to. Actually, let's take a look at this first. Here's a little Easter egg for you people who loved playing Loom. Bobbin Threadbare. His mother would be ashamed. If you've played any of the old LucasArts games, that should be amusing. So we'll talk to the guard. So, you can talk with all these NPCs, but in the interests of moving along, we're not going to worry about that. Here's a fruit seller. We talk to her. She is selling fruit, which we will need for a later puzzle. Just 100 ruby coins for a single granap. There's been inflation. So what we're going to do is we're going to give 100 ruby coins to her. And we will move on. And there's a bit of an Easter egg associated with this, and I invite you to take a look at that at your own time, but we'll worry about that later. Oop, there we go. So now we'll go north. And as you can see, we have ourselves a little cul-de-sac here with a bar, the Black Shard Bar, if we look at that. Broken Shard Bar, sorry. And a bookstore, which is obvious. So we're going to go into the bookstore first. This is Harian, one of the NPCs. You can talk to him for a great deal of advice. Basically ask him about the city and what's going on. But really all you need to do is get a book from him. And he wants a book in return. So we will give him the Tattered Journal. As you can see, he's very interested in the Sorcerer's Past. And you get this ancient tome. A textbook that basically allows you to solve a puzzle later with a minimum of effort. So let's go ahead and leave. And go into the Black Shard Bar. And here's Mylena. If you had not released her from her prison earlier and then came to the Citadel first, she would not be here. So in order to talk to her here, you have to have gone to the tomb first. So let's talk to her now. About that favor she owes you. I could use a drink. Give me a tour around the city. I can't think of anything else right now. So I better get going. She is absolutely vital in actually solving the latter part of the quest, so we'll come back to her in a bit. Let's instead we are going to move on. Check out the Sorcerer's Tower. So we can't get in there unless we get rid of the guards. And that is what we need Mylena for. So we will go back to that bar. And very quickly talk to Mylena. And she gives you some alcohol. And you need a distraction. So, now she'll go and help you distract the guards. So, let us go ahead and leave. Return to the Sorcerer's Tower. As soon as we come in, out pops Mylena. Bomb goes off, and the guards die. She's a bit of a firebug. She goes. So now we have to get inside of the Sorcerer's Tower. We have everything we need to finish the game. So we're going to, well, aside from the things inside the Sorcerer's Tower. So I'm going to pick up a flat black key. It looks like an SD card. And what we're going to do is we're going to use that on this access panel. Finally go inside. Now, as you can see, this is the Sorcerer's Tower. Much different aesthetic from the rest of the game. Things have been gradually getting darker and more purple and more machine-like. Here we have the Sorcerer's Sanctum. This is an Oni mask that's part of a Easter egg, which I don't have time for right now. I will post that video later. We also have the bubbler and the calcinator and a sheaf of papers. If we look at the sheaf of papers, essentially we need to create a stone to get us to teleport to the Sorcerer's Lair. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at the ancient tome that we picked up from Hiron to see what it has to say. Creation process. The process to create the Mega Stone is extremely complicated. It requires no less than 10 assistants, a fully stocked laboratory, full adherence to all safety standards, yada 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 yada. Okay, here it is. First, purify red earth by starlight. The light of a yellow star is best. Then grind red earth into mortar and add the juice of 1 granap. After the two are mixed, add in the purple grass of this native land. The grass must come second. Then place the mixture in the calcinator with some pure alchemical spirits. So basically we have to combine things in a certain order to get a stone. So what we need to do is put the book down. We're going to pick up some of this red earth. We're going to pick up some purple grass. Now, I specifically put this in here for anybody who came here first and didn't want to backtrack all the way back to the original part of the game. The idea here is that you can get to this point and get some power stones. But that was faulty because you need a power stone. No, wait, I'm correct. So yeah, so this is actually a shortcut to opening up the sorcerer or the king's tomb later on. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna walk over here. We're gonna open up this. This is a crystal tip device that is pointed at a yellow star. So we're gonna open up this dome. We're going to use the red dust on the dome. Close it. And then push this button. Our sand has changed, and if we pick it up, it says purified red sand. If we look at it, it says it's charged with starlight. So we're going to go back into the room. I'm going to pick up this mortar and pestle. We're going to start combining things into it. First, we're going to go ahead and add the red sand. And then we're going to add in the granap. This is what I call the bowl of fruity pebbles. Then we're going to add in the grass. The grass is in there and the concoction just keeps getting worse. And we're going to use that with the calcinator. Finally, we're going to add in a bottle of clear alcohol. And we can pick up from the mechanical slot the Mega Stone. So now we can just take that to the very top and use that to get to the sorcerer. This looks ominous. This is a hint to basically say that you need everything, that you may want to go back and check for everything before you move onward. Because if you move on from this point without the Iron Wand, you cannot win the game. But that is also the first thing you have to do, so you should have done it by now. So we'll use the Mega Stone with the odd chamber. This is it. This is the end of the game. Beyond here, there's only the sorcerer. So we're going to move onward. I'm very proud of that throne, by the way. So as you can see, this is the final boss fight. The sorcerer is displeased with you, and you must find a way to defeat him. Thankfully, you already have the item that you need, the Iron Wand. He does like to talk. He's a villain. Wandered into your last trap. So now it's very, very important that we use the Iron Wand on him. The Iron Wand! Now, I automatically made him go to the next room because of a coding error. I plan on fixing that in future endeavors. But it's the end of the game, so everything should be on automatic now anyways. There it is, the moon. My quest is all but over. I'm going to slow things down a little bit here. All we must do now is release the moon, and we can do that by pushing this button. And now we're done. Now all we have to do is watch the credits. So he's left there. That's basically what's going on. And again, I would love to go back and add in some voice acting on this if I ever get the chance. But for now, I think this is fine. Although I do believe this part is a little long-winded. So you'll just go ahead and save the city by returning the power. Here we go. And there we go. That's the end of Redworld. I'd like to thank you guys for watching this quick walkthrough. There's a lot more to this game than what I've shown. There are Easter eggs, hidden things, lots and lots of dialogue. You can go back and talk to pretty much everyone at multiple times. Writing this game was a lot of fun. I just wanted to keep it short for the interest of time. I will be providing a link to this game later on, so please feel free to download this game at your leisure. It is absolutely free. I'm not making any money off of it. I built this game in 3 months, and I want people to play it. So, my advice is follow the provided link, download the game, play it, and let me know what you think. My next game, Brain Case, should be getting started soon. It'll be in a very similar style. I'd like to start with Unity 3D, but I may continue with adventuregamestudio.co.uk. I'm going to have a lot more time to work on it now, so hopefully it'll be even better. In the meantime, thank you guys for watching. I'll let the credits roll, and hope you enjoyed this. Thank you very much.